Hi everyone, this is Lisa from Lisa's Adulting in Singapore. Welcome to my channel introduction, where I will explain briefly the context and purpose of this channel. The topics I want to cover on this channel include things like money and finance, my experience with purchasing and renovating a HDB resale flat, what it's like to live in a 2-room HDB flat, and also other productivity and lifestyle topics that I like talking about. On the purpose of this channel, firstly, I want it to serve as a documentation of my journey with money. I want to talk about how money enters my life, mostly in the form of income, but also how I spend it and what I spend it on, and ultimately what money brings me. I'm sure you've heard of this saying, what gets measured gets managed. I believe this is true, especially in the context of something as tangible and straightforward as money. By documenting my journey, it will allow me to reflect on it almost from a distance. I hope this sort of outside perspective will allow me to be even more mindful about my spending habits and also my emotions around the topic of money and how I deal with it. Secondly, I hope to be able to help others who will benefit from the information I want to share. So these are things that I've spent hours learning about through research on my own experience. And I've also developed very efficient and comprehensive systems for myself that I've had to continually hone over the years, and I know that it can help others out there. So if I can help someone save the time, energy, and headache by consolidating and sharing what I've learned, that is motivation enough for me to start this channel. Thirdly, in the same vein as the previous point, I hope to encourage more transparent discussions about money. I've noticed some shame or hesitation when it comes to discussing things like salaries or savings, for example. I don't think it's impolite conversation, and when it comes to a more negative emotion like shame surrounding the issue of money, I can only imagine it comes from a place of insecurity or fear of judgment. For instance, being in debt or just feeling like you don't have enough compared to your peers. I've definitely been in that situation before. And it was only when I started looking past comparisons and figuring out how to work with what I have that I finally learned what it means to be financially literate, which doesn't mean rich, it just means good with money, which is a great place to start from. If it weren't for other people talking openly about money, like people online or my friends, I probably would still be in the same place. On this channel, I will be sharing specific numbers, not just because I'm open to talking about money and I like talking about money, but also it would just be more helpful for all of us if I am being very specific about what I am working with. Fourthly, I want to talk about money in the context of my specific set of circumstances and life experience. I am a 25-year-old female Singaporean. I graduated from university in 2019 and I entered the workforce in 2020, right when the COVID-19 pandemic happened. I'm a full-time salaried worker and I have been working for slightly under 2 years. I'm currently single and I do not have any plans for children in the future. I am the sole breadwinner of my family. I'm supporting not just myself but also my 54-year-old mother, who is, by the way, not a Singaporean and not a Singapore PR. This is quite an important factor in a few of my financial decisions, which I'll touch on in a future video. I am the sole owner of a 2-room HDB flat in which we're currently staying in. If you're Singaporean and at all familiar with the workings of the Housing Development Board and their eligibility schemes, you would know that this is quite unusual because typically Singaporeans who are single and under the age of 35 don't qualify for buying public housing. I'll explain this in more detail in another video. I grew up in a low-income household with little inherited wealth. Essentially, my family has been living off whatever we have earned in the last few years. My parents had little to no financial knowledge, which translated to me growing up not knowing much about money and finances besides the absolute basics of needing to have it and then needing to save it. I'm explaining all this because it's important to understand when I'm talking about money and how I deal with it, that I'm working within this context and specific set of circumstances, which I believe is quite unusual from the norm. And so when I was doing my own research into improving my financial literacy, this was always in the back of my mind, how to adapt what I'm learning to fit within the limits of my own life. In doing all these, one of the most valuable lessons I learned was understanding why you are doing something and how it fits in the bigger picture of your situation, a situation that will look different for everyone. I didn't want to learn about just one tool or one method. I wanted to learn them all and when and how to use them so that I can pick and choose what I need. I believe that the sum of people's circumstances and priorities influence the decisions that they make, and understanding why they do something is just as important as knowing what steps or actions that they take. So what I believe I can contribute here is by giving as complete a picture as I can, by outlining what I'm working with and how I'm working with it. And if anyone is vaguely in the same situation as I am, I hope this brings you some relief to know that I'm in the same boat and that something I share will be helpful to you. Fifthly, this channel is a personal project of mine in learning how to exercise my creativity and learn new technical skills. I learn by doing, and so I will do it. I've also decided on starting a YouTube channel instead of just a blog because I want to take it one step further and really go out of my comfort zone. There is more for me to learn here than if I were to continue with my very comfortable choice of medium, which is normally just writing. More importantly, I want to overcome my perfectionistic tendencies and learn to be comfortable with imperfection. In the past, I've always felt crippled intellectually and creatively by my fear of being imperfect or just not good, which hindered my self-development and prevented me from starting anything meaningful. And so through this project, I'll hopefully learn to be okay with not knowing everything and not doing everything right. I'll work with what I have. I'll never be ready, so I just have to start. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next video.